Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, another year is in the books, and a lot of movies I've seen. There were some I didn't get reviews out for, and that's a shame, but for the most part I tried to be really thorough, and I actually was really impressed with this year. A lot of movies surprised me, a lot of movies disappointed me, but I always tried to go the extra mile. There were a lot of things, like I drive sometimes an hour out of my way to try and find a film to review for you guys, and I didn't get as many as a lot of these other bigger YouTube channels, but I always tried to give you guys something consistently, and I mean, there were some hurdles to get through this year. I mean, there was at one point, like, I pretty much lost all of my video editing software and all that stuff, and I was trying my best. It's been a wild ride this year, but we're going to have more exciting stuff next year, of course. So, as per always, let's talk about our top 10 movies of 2021. So, as always, these films are subjective. I mean, you may have hated some of them, you may have loved some of them, I don't know, but this is what I liked. And I have a certain niche taste, and yeah, we'll see what you think. But, as always, in celebratoriness, the locos gotta come out. At number 10, we have the Nicolas Cage film Pig. And Pig was one of those movies that was just an odyssey and tale of heartbreak. And it was so beautifully shot. Nicolas Cage acted the hell out of the movie, and he delivered an Oscar-worthy performance of a man who has nothing left but his pig, or his pet. But anyone who has a pet can relate to the film. Is it one of those movies that I want to watch over and over again? No. But every time I think back on Pig, I go, wow, that movie just hit me really close to where I live, and just so many heartstrings pulled, and it was an interesting world. It did everything right. Pig, you earned the spot at number 10. Okay, at number 9, this is a movie, you know, a lot of people ask reviewers, is there ever a film that you maybe gave one rating that you changed your mind on later? And this one was kind of one of those, but it was one where when I left the theater, I'm like, what the hell was that movie? And then the more I thought about it, the more I loved the movie, and the more I appreciated the movie, and then I found myself watching it. Anyways, I'll get to what it is. Another Nicolas Cage film, Willys Wonderland. Willys Wonderland was a very bizarre movie that I just appreciate for how weird it was. Nicolas Cage not having a single line of dialogue in the movie, but being the main character, was an interesting perspective and, like, experience, and just it's so freaking weird that I love it. That it's just so bizarre, I can't not love it. And it's one of those ones that I reviewed it and was like, yeah, it's fine. But then as I thought about it, I'm like, I love this movie. Number 8, we have a movie that I didn't know what to expect going in, but as you know, I'm a sucker for action. Nobody is a Bob Odenkirk is a badass movie. Bob Odenkirk got the Liam Neeson treatment, and it was rightfully deserved. I mean, this movie was one of those ones that I just watched and was like, holy shit, Bob Odenkirk kicks ass. And watching Bob throw down and just be cool, but he was not like John Wick in the sense that he's just this ultimate badass. Yes, he is, but he played such a grounded human character that I related to him. I'm like, anybody could be Bob Odenkirk's character in Nobody. They really could. If they were like some badass special forces person, they could be him. And so the action felt good. The bus scene immediately made me say this is in the top 10 movies of this year. At number 7, we have a movie that I was requested to review, and it blew my mind in terms of entertainment spectacle watching it. The Tomorrow War. The Tomorrow War was just that movie that I went in expecting nothing, and I say that a lot. And I came out of it with, like, I had a fun sci-fi experience. Have you seen this sci-fi movie before? Yes, 100% yes, absolutely, you have seen it before. But it was just so well shot in terms of the spectacle. Chris Pratt plays a relatable father figure, and I enjoyed every second of it. The monsters were compelling. I love monsters, we all know that. And so getting to see this kind of action flick that I didn't even know was gonna be made or existed until randomly it was plopped in my lap. That's just a cool thing. It's a cool time. And I've enjoyed the crap out of it in rewatches. And I don't always rewatch a lot of those streaming service movies. I think the one exception to that was The Highwaymen that came out a few years ago. But this one did it. So good job to you. I always forget how long these videos can be. At number 6 is the first movie I saw this year. It was the Daily Wire streaming service movie Run, Hide, Fight. Run, Hide, Fight was a compelling action movie idea that took itself seriously, and I saw some people who criticized it saying it glorified school shootings. I don't think it did at all. I think it taught you that we live in kind of a crazy, scary world, and bad things happen, and people who are working with what they have to survive. It did give me a Die Hard vibe, and I love that Die Hard concept. But I also, a similar theme if you notice, a strong father figure who taught his daughter how to keep herself safe. I thought that was a very, very well done plot point, and I'm glad they explored it. And then seeing her just do what she can to help her friends and be a good person in this horrible and horrifying situation was very compelling. So Run, Hide, Fight. I mean, my jaw was on the floor for most of this movie. And I also rewatched it probably like 7 or 8 times and brought other people in. Was like, you have to see this movie. Run, Hide, Fight was absolutely incredible. At number 5, it was a movie that existed only in myth, and now it is a reality. Zack Snyder's Justice League, or as we all call it, the Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder's Justice League was a 4-hour epic of we told you so. Everybody said Zack Snyder needs to release this, and they let him do it. And seeing that artist's vision come to life at how he truly envisioned it, with some stuff he did add, it was a beautiful thing. It was a wonderful experience, and I don't regret it, and it was just glorious to see it happen on screen, and it is easily the best DCEU film to date, and continue the Snyderverse, Warner Brothers. I'm putting you on blast for that. Bring Zack Snyder back. And this is coming from the guy who got death threats from his fanboys for saying Man of Steel was just mediocre. Alright, people, we're over halfway done with this list. The last 4 really could be in any order, but I had to come up with a way that made me say, okay, yeah, that works. So, here we go. They're all kind of, like, incredible. At number 4, we have Dune. Denis Villeneuve kicked so much ass in making a marvelous masterpiece of visual storytelling and just awe-inspiring. I mean, visual effects, acting, cinematography, everything you can think of, he knocked it out of the park. Denis Villeneuve, I just wish, people, there seems to be this rumor that people don't like super long epic scope movies. And I really wish that they'd kind of made Dunes Part 1 and 2 at the exact same time, and maybe released it as one giant one. But because this is Part 1, I just kept sitting there worried. I was worried and fretting that we weren't going to get Part 2, and then when they confirmed it, I geeked the fuck out. Dune was a movie that I read the book back in the day, and seeing just how much love went into this project made me appreciate it and respect it more. This wasn't just a studio-driven film at all. This was a love letter for true classic sci-fi. And I don't know, I had a grin ear to ear watching it in IMAX, and even now, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I kind of want to go watch Dune right now. So, I mean, you earned this spot. You earned all of the top 4 spots, technically, because I bounced Dune around by the day. But you did it, man. You freaking did it. At number 3, we have a movie that I am so happy was as good as it was and was beyond my expectations because of all the delays. A Quiet Place Part 2. A Quiet Place Part 2 you're one of those movies that there is so much pressure amounting on a sequel to be as good or better than its predecessor. And A Quiet Place Part 2 is one of the only films in history that I would say is as good as Part 1. It's almost as though, like how I said with Dune previously, they shot it as one movie and just split it up. So that's how it felt to me. And I'm like, God dang it, John Krasinski, I love you so much. You are just so awesome and you make really kick-ass movies. The world felt lived in. Killian, however you pronounce his name. Cillian Murphy was amazing in the movie, and he really grounded it in a whole nother way. Like, John Krasinski was that loving father character, and Cillian Murphy was a grizzled, bitter, jaded person who slowly becomes the father figure, and that was a cool arc to see. A Quiet Place Part 2 was intense from beginning to end. It lived up to the monumental expectations and delivered one of the most satisfying theatrical experiences I've seen in years. So, cheers to you, A Quiet Place Part 2. Okay, so this next one is one of the ones that it sat at number 1 for so fucking long. And I'm like, this movie is what I would call everything Scott needs in his life. It is a fun, popcorn-fueled event. And it was special for everybody when it came out. Number 2, you were number 1 at one point, and you still are in many regards in my heart. Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong was one of those movies that I was hyping myself up for, and there was like, I have a Team Godzilla shirt, for God's sake, and seeing people on the street being like, oh, are you Team Godzilla, Team Kong, it made the kaiju genre feel so much more special, and I was so proud of it, like, and seeing it on screen, it was truly what I would describe as a big screen movie. It's something that when you're watching it, it felt like this cool event and escape. You could forget about your problems. At the time that Godzilla vs. Kong coming out, I had a lot going on in my life, and I needed something like Godzilla vs. Kong, and it was a perfect escape. You could just shut out the world and just embrace the movie. And that's what movies were made for, which is entertainment. And just appreciating some fun thing. And Godzilla vs. Kong embodied that. And watching Godzilla and Kong throw down was, I mean, dude, that was freaking cool. Alright, number 1, the big Bambino, the big schlamboozle of 2021, the big movie. Which one is it gonna be? Because I know a lot of my subscribers were probably like, oh yeah, duh, Godzilla vs. Kong is gonna be number 1. He talks about movies like that nonstop. He fucking loves it. What is gonna be number 1? What could possibly top something like that? And I played around with this list a lot, and it bounced, but this one, there was a moment that I said, yeah, it's number 1. And so, to you, number 1 movie of 2021, SpiderMan No Way Home. I know, people, I am that person who says Marvel movies aren't that good, and, I mean, some of them are good, most of them aren't, and I wasn't even going to watch another one of these things, and my God, Spider-Man No Way Home pulled me in, and you earned number 1. You came out with a bang. This is one of those ones where it's like, Marvel was just down and out in my brain, and I'm like, you're done. Whatever. We don't care. And then they're like, oh yeah? Fuck you, Spider-Man. Spider-Man No Way Home hit a level of childhood that I didn't know I had. I mean, I grew up on Spider-Man. But the level of respect for the character, the love for the source material, was so beyond beautiful to me. Seeing it on screen, I have a whole different level of respect for someone taking the characters how they were meant to be and just truly letting that play out. Spider-Man No Way Home is the antithesis of a Hollywood formula in terms of this kind of stuff. and I respect it. I love it. I actually cried in Spider-Man No Way Home because it hit that level of childhood where I was like, this is a movie for me. And it felt so special. And I went into the movie going, fuck, fine, I'll go see Spider-Man. And I walked out going, this is one of my favorite movies I've seen in a long time. And at the time, I was like, number 2, easily. And I'm, of course, no spoilers. There is a moment in Spider-Man No Way Home in the 3rd act that there was part of my brain that went, this just hit number 1. And it is easily, bar none, the best movie of the year. You earned that spot, Spider-Man No Way Home. And I'm so happy I got to live at the time that it came out. So, you know, where people talk about their first experience with Star Wars. I said it in my review, but like where like Star Wars, or like me when I saw Cloverfield on screen for the first time, and it changed my entire way I saw movies and made me really want to be, like, for sure want to do filmmaking of some sort. Spider-Man No Way Home hit that same level where I'm like, I have experienced something special that we're going to talk about in 40 years. And so that's why it deserves the respect it deserves, and it deserves the spot on this list. If you haven't seen it yet, you really should, especially if you've ever read a Spider-Man comic book. You deserve to. You owe it to yourself. This is an incredible film. It absolutely earned it. So yet again, I give a toast to you, Spider-Man No Way Home. You are the movie I needed you to be, and I am so proud of that. John Watts, Tom Holland, Zendaya, and I always forget the rest of the cast name. You all did so great. Benedict Cumberbatch, wow. You guys all killed it, and you guys made one of the greatest superhero films to ever exist. So, props on you. It was a bold, ambitious project, and you nailed it. Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between, what is your list? Did you like my list? If you didn't, I'm sorry, but this is just my opinion. But another year in the books. My goal for next year, while we're on New Year's resolutions and all of that at the end of the year, I'm gonna try and at least add more reviews than I normally did in the past couple years. I'm really gonna try and double down on that. I always say that every year. But I've been really ramping it up a little bit. I had a couple years where I stumbled after, as you all know, I had a relationship issue fall apart. I had a lot of life changes, and so it was harder to get a lot of those videos out, but I'm kind of getting everything figured out again, and I'm back, baby, and I'm gonna try and get more videos. I don't remember how many reviews I did this year. It was like mid-20s. And I want to try to get to like mid-30s, or hey, mid-40s. Let's see how many we can hit. Let's just go for the record. Because I think the record on my channel will be over 40, specifically movie reviews, not TV show, not other unrelated vlogs, like movie reviews. Let's try that big number and see what happens. We'll reflect in a year, and you guys in the comments section, you'll remind me. But cheers to another year. I hope you enjoyed this year of movies. I actually really did a lot. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I got plenty more videos coming to you. Hit that bell notification. It's what the hip kids are doing. Cheers. Love you guys.